I believed in Montessori before I decided to send my daughter to Arroyo Grande Montessori School. But then when I talked to Mike and Joyce about how they run their school, I was really impressed.
It was important for us to place our child Eliana in a really safe and loving environment after she finished with a treatment for leukemia, and we found that place with the AG Montessori School.
My wife and I have had 3 of our daughters go to AG Montessori School. They all 3 of them have enjoyed going there. We hear a lot about the types of projects that they work on.
My son Eli started at the school about 3 years ago when he was 3, and we've had a very positive experience with him going to AG Montessori.
My daughter's going to attend the Arroyo Grande Montessori School, and I was one of the original students to be with Mike and Joyce at the AG Montessori when I was a child.
What I noticed first was the beautiful learning environment. The material that is different to the toys that you find in regular preschools. It's not toys, it's just beautiful objects the kid work with.
For the older 2 that no longer go there, they've transitioned really well.
We like to emphasize academics in our family. One thing that I think that was really important for her is that she acquired these skills of learning on her own, and the skills that she can have for the rest of her life, and that she is motivated independently to learn, and I think that's the most important thing for us academically.
While the other schools apply some Montessori techniques, that AG Montessori was the only one we found that was applying all the techniques across the board.
Coming into Montessori, I learned that there are limitless opportunities, really. I can come into a classroom and study anything that I'm interested in and go as far as I want in that category.
I have 2 sons, one who's 25 and who currently is in medical school, another that is 20 who's a junior in college, and they're both very successful students. It really began in their early childhood development when both of them started at Montessori schools when they were about 3 years old.
The kids get to choose their own work when they're at school each day. And I looked at how the classroom was set up with projects all over the place, and they were completely organized. And I couldn't imagine that a bunch of kids had just been in that classroom.
I remember when Joyce Miller, his teacher, when he was 3 to 5 years old, and she saw his math ability, and she actually was teaching him trigonometry when he was probably 4 or 5 years old, and he was totally understanding it and wanting more and more and more. Her ability to assess his thinking process and challenge him was very exquisite and very accurate. I thought it was amazing to me.
More of an active learning process rather than a passive learning process, and I think that's a skill that she can have with her for the rest of her life, and that's, something that we really appreciate.
I'm really attracted to the Montessori school because I love the idea that they're doing individual projects that are really fostering their independence and kind of catering towards their learning style.
The Montessori program really encouraged me to be creative in what I like to do, which is designing and making my own clothes. And I really appreciated that freedom I had to be creative.
I am completing my 4th year this year at UCLA. I'm a musical theater major in the School of Theater, Film, and Television. And I actually sort of had my first performing experiences at Montessori School.
When we first walked into the school, both my husband and I looked around and were really impressed by how calm and quiet and organized the workspace was.
We've been very pleased with the school. The one thing that I've noticed in particular is that our child is overall relatively shy, but when we go to places and they ask for volunteers from kids to do things, I notice her raising her hand more now and wanting to participate.
My name is Maddie Murphy Sinclair, and I am going to be a World Arts and Culture major this year at UCLA, an incoming freshman. And my experience at Montessori School was very enriching. It kind of set a platform for how I felt, how I approached my learning.
As I walk into Arroyo Grande Montessori now, I see a very organized classroom. I see materials grouped according to their subject. I see them all very well taken care of. Mike and Joyce have had these projects for years, and they look the same as when I went there when I was 2 years old.
I could tell the difference right away in Taylor when she started having choices on what she could do and wanted to do, and then she would be able to complete a task and do a great job at it. She felt successful, and then she could move on to another task.
I really believe in the idea of a child learning to love to learn. This affected my life in a great way because when I attended elementary school after the Montessori school, I loved learning in every aspect. I never thought of school as something that was I had to be there or that I didn't want to be there. I thought of it as something that was going to help me and bettered my life. And I think the Montessori greatly affected my ability to do so well in school.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is Montessori school sort of instilling in me from a very young age a love of learning. And the best example I can give of that is learning to read, and I remember this so vividly. Being maybe, 3 or 4, and sitting down with Joyce learning to read sentences, really simple sentences, like I ride a bike or I swing on the swings. And then every time I successfully read a sentence correctly, I would get to go out and perform whatever activity I had just read about. I remember I'm playing on the monkey bars or something, a sentence like that, and then I got to go out and do it, and I was so thrilled and just so excited about it. And so I would just look forward to the start of the day.
We're very happy with our child's learning process at Arroyo Grande Montessori School. If we had to do it again, we will do the same thing.
I just think the language development was very well nurtured. So academically, they both, were very blessed by being in this program, I think socially and I think emotionally. And I'm glad we chose to do that, and I'm glad we found Mike and Joyce to help them begin that process in